y'all. It is whatever day it is, Wednesday. It's your girl Faith, and I'm here to talk about my postpartum journey. Like last video, I talked about my birth story, about how things didn't go as planned, how I'm letting go of control. I'm going to be diving into different aspects of my postpartum. So let's just dive into it. To keep it a buck with y'all, it has been highs, lows, a lot of learning, a lot of growing. It's been especially tough for me just still grieving and processing my mom's death. That has been probably the hardest part for me. It's not, with the learning a baby, learning routines, a baby learning me, sleepless nights, those are the things I accepted that came with it. Are they fun? Absolutely not. No. There are moments that I love being a mom. There's moments where I'm like, oh my God, what did I sign myself up for? Can I do this? Moments of doubt and grief. No, not doubt and grief. Moments of just uncertainty. I can tell you one thing, my biggest thing that has grown stronger is my faith. There is no denying that. I have no denying that God does not exist, because that is the only way I'm making through this. Like, it's not even the amount of planning. It's not even the amount of things that you have for a baby. It's the mental that comes with it, and that's the part that can literally pull any and everybody under. I have the support of my husband. I have the support of my friends. I have support of family, even though my family originally, I'm from Maryland, and we're down here in Charlotte, my husband and I, and that is, that can be a process, but, I built a family here, so the community is there, so there's no denying that. The biggest part for me is my mom, and just, she's not here physically. I know she's here spiritually, but, you hear a lot about postpartum and people's experiences, and for me, I try not to intake too much. I try to take wisdom and learning aspects of other people's story, but I try not to engulf myself too much in that, because I find myself getting anxious or intaking other people's problems or experiences that really aren't mine. Everybody experiences things differently, although there might be some similarities. So, take heed, but I also, discernment. I don't listen to everybody, point blank, period. But for me, it's not just about a baby and sleepless nights and things like that. I found myself getting overwhelmed, and I had to tune out Instagram of newborn tips, or, watching mothers, first-time mothers, have their mother with them, call them, even like the funniest videos. It was making me really sad. And I do have a tendency and do believe that I can talk to my mom spiritually. And although I feel her presence sometimes, I play worship music at night, the same things that my mom did when I was a baby. Sometimes it's just not enough. It's not enough, and the sadness just comes in waves. And I know I have been, quote unquote, undiagnosed with, like, pretty much I scored high on some depression scale for my 2-week postpartum. I wasn't like really abnormal. I just scored like 2 points higher than what they, I guess, wanted based off this scale. So not saying depression, anxiety don't exist. They do, and I have had experience with them as well, and I like to be very vulnerable and open with that, but I don't like to claim it, because I don't like taking ownership of depression and anxiety, because they're spirits, point blank simple. Just like fear is a spirit, just like sadness and all their emotions, but they can overtake you if you allow it. So I just try to talk about it, to feel, to cry. I mean, realistically, I'm still grieving. She passed in March, and I don't understand why people think you're supposed to be past it at a certain time. There is no time frame. So my best way of doing it is to speak freely, to be vulnerable, because that is the way that God has designed us as humans, to connect with each other, to connect with Him, to connect with discernment and our ability to just be raw. I mean, I don't really have no fancy way of putting it. And my mom not being here, I feel like every woman deserves to have a mom-like support. And there is positives in it, in my mom's death, because her relationships that she built have flown into or grown into my relationships. She has co-workers that are now family. She has I mean, we have family that, I've had in my rest of my life who was really, or had him early in my life, who was really stepped up. And it's not even about gifts from Messiah. They're willing to come down because, I'm originally from Maryland, and I think I said that already. But anyway, originally from Maryland, down here in Charlotte, and I can be, like, it can be overwhelming at times, but I just miss her. I miss her. I wish I could send her pictures. I wish I could send her, I wish I could call her and just say, hey, here's what's going on. Here's a funny thing he did today. Here is a sad thing that I'm feeling. What do I do? Those moments where I'm having doubts or insecurities of being a mom, what can I do? And I have aunts, like I said, I have coworkers, I have friends, but what I'm learning is it's okay to be vulnerable with them, because what I fear the most sometimes is being too much for people. That is an innate childlike inner child thing that I've been working on in therapy, but the only real person that I could be just truly, I guess, me is my mom. Even though she would annoy me at times, she would be too religious, she wouldn't, it's always give me the things that I wanted to hear. She gave me the mom-like spirit, the feminine energy that I needed, and the God-like presence that was within her. And I can't always get that with other people, but what motherhood is teaching me is to depend, truly depend, not just on physical needs, but spiritual growth, depend on others, to reach out to others. Still working on that. There's a lot of, in the physical sense, I'm just honestly exhausted, and talking sometimes to other people is energy draining for me. It just is. And sometimes I feel bad about it, but then I just realize, like, it's okay as long as I try to communicate my needs and, I'm not disappearing. Still working on that. It's going to be okay. And yesterday I had a moment where I just bawled my eyes out. I was talking to my mom, and I was honestly praying to God that, can you please have her show up in my dream? Can you please have her, is it okay? God is not a genie. He does not grant wishes, but I'm just asking, like, I want to feel her presence more. I think I said this in my birth story, maybe not, but like there are many times Messiah smiles in his sleep, and I know that's like a newborn developmental stage type thing, but for me, it's deeper. I feel like my mom is speaking to him, and those moments make me sad but happy. It's duality in the emotions, and that's okay. Just as the people can feel grief and sadness or happiness at the same time, there's a powerful tool in developing and cultivating emotions, acknowledging emotions, and I want to acknowledge the good that comes with being a mom and all of this, but also the heaviness that still sits upon me at times. And I had to really depend on not just people support, but also a spiritual support, because I could have really went into a real dark place, and I came close to that. Like, real talk, I came almost close to that. But with the sleep, a lot of times, in the physical sense, I get overwhelmed because I just need sleep. I just need sleep. But I also need prayer. I have this prayer room that I've developed, and those moments when he's quiet, when Messiah is quiet, when I have quiet moments to myself, I just talk to God and just say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. Like I said, yesterday I had a moment, and those moments, it was heavy. It was real heavy. I felt lonely. I felt empty. And I just wanted so bad to talk to my mom at that point. And even when I was trying to talk to her, spirit sense, it just was so much. Like, but in that, like, there was still gratitude, because I was able to, hold on, he's crying. In that moment, my moment, in that moment of sadness, I also felt gratitude. And it was gratitude because I had this scenario pop up in my mind when I was at the airport after my mom died. There was a lady who sat next to me. Her name was Leah. Beautiful soul. She was absolutely beautiful. She sat next to me. She saw I was pregnant, and she started pulling out food. and she was like, hey, this food isn't going to bother you. I don't want, I know you're pregnant and smells can be weird. And I thought that was very thoughtful of her. Because I was sitting in the airport just waiting for the plane, just honestly in my head. This was right after my mom had passed. And she then explains to me that her daughter was pregnant too. And she was like, my daughter doesn't like all these smells, blah, 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 blah. She was just beautiful energy that I needed. Just, yeah. And then, we started talking, and I realized how kind she was, and I didn't realize how much I needed that. And she was a mom. So, transparency with humans have been the most beautiful interactions, in my opinion, just to see how God works within pure souls who are open into loving on people. That's amazing to me, because it's very uncommon in this world right today. A lot of people live in human selfish nature. It's about me, it's about making money, it's about blah 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 blah. But she was genuinely wanting to learn about me, and so I eventually opened up to her. And I said, well, I'm up here. She asked, was I from Baltimore? And I said, no, I'm from Maryland. My husband's from Baltimore, but I'm actually up here. We live in Charlotte, and I'm actually up here because my mom passed. And the look on her face was just pure. I don't want to say like she was just feeling sorry for me, because I didn't feel that way. She was genuinely sad for me, and she then ended up sharing that she lost her mom too. I don't remember what age, but we just were able to connect in that sense of grief and loss of a mom. Something that if you have not experienced, I said this in my other video, you will not understand. And unfortunately, it's a hard thing to lose a mother figure, to lose a mother. Grief is hard, loss is hard in general, but it's something different about a mom. It's just something different. But long story short, because I was about to do every detail, I was able to be grateful that she gave me a mom-like presence, and she told me that. And eventually got to the point we were literally hugging, and I was bawling my eyes out in the middle of the terminal, and they were calling the plane at this point, so people were trying to line up, and we just hugged. And I come to find out she was a believer as well. She believed in God, and she just poured into me spiritually, emotionally, physically. She gave me physical touch, and I love hugs, not from everybody, because everybody's spirit ain't right, but hers was just a breath of fresh air. And she was like, I think your mom wanted you to experience a mother-like figure. You needed that, and I did. So that goes back to yesterday's moment when I was sitting in sadness of God. I missed her physical presence. I was reminded of what I do have as well. And Leah still checks up on me to this day. She sent me gifts. I sent her pictures, and I just am so grateful that God sent me someone in that moment that restored, not really my soul, but just restored and just loved on me, and just, I don't know, it was just so beautiful. And that's essentially how postpartum is for me right now. It is a lot of beauty, it is a lot of pain, it is a lot of uncomfortability. And I don't mean physical pain, because honestly, physically, I'm healing well. I'm healing really well, but it just is a lot of grace on myself. It's a lot of allowing myself to be present. If that means I'm gonna cry for 10 minutes, so be it. If that means I need to take rest for an hour and a half, so be it. If that means I ain't breast pumping at this certain time because I just can't do it, so be it. I'm not stressing myself. And that goes back to the Instagram videos. I can no longer engulf myself in quote unquote what makes a good mom, because that looks different for any and everybody. I cannot do what this mom does. I cannot pump 12 ounces, and that's okay, because I was getting really frustrated. Like, that was presenting anxiety of the expectations of what I felt like I had to be, instead of just being Faith, the mom of Messiah, whatever that looks like. And no, not everybody's gonna agree. Should you co-parent? I mean, not co-parent. Should you co-sleep? Should you sleep in a bassinet? Should you sleep in a crib? Should you do, like, oh my God, does that really matter? No, it doesn't. What matters is the health of my son, the health of me, the tranquility in our environment, in our house, the peace that restores any and all things that only God can provide. That's what matters, like truly. Mentality is okay. I journal a lot, not as much as I want to, but I journal a lot, and I was given this journal that says things I wanted to tell my mom, and so I use that, and I will allow myself to cry, and I think that is the most beautiful thing, freeing thing that I can give myself. I allow myself to laugh. I allow myself to be angry. I allow myself to feel whatever I need to feel. If I feel inspired to talk about it on a video, then I'm gonna do it, because that is flowing for me, and that is how I'm embracing this postpartum, because it's not easy. And I was telling a friend that there's sometimes I'm like, again, I hate this. I don't hate him, but I hate this process. I want to go outside. I want to go on vacations. I want to do this. All that stuff I think is normal, because I'm not the same person I was. I'm a mother. I'm a different woman. I physically gave birth, mentally, spiritually, something happened to me. There was a shift. And I now understand that. I've heard a lot of mothers say that, and you just don't understand until you're in it. And any first-time moms out there, the best thing I can tell you is to really not give you advice. To flow with whatever speaks to you. I'm not saying don't seek out wisdom, don't seek out guidance if you need it, but don't overwhelm yourself in the shoulda, coulda, wouldas of the ideal form of a mom. What does that look like? We are all different, and there's going to be times you hate it, and that's okay. There's going to be times you feel sadness. There's going to be all emotions. Just be. That is the best advice. Just be. Because that is what's helping. So all that being said, I'm probably going to have another check-in because little man is about to be hungry and I need to go pump. And yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the love that y'all poured in and the authentic souls and spirits. And I pray that this reaches somebody. Peace, y'all.